Before we begin the story, I'd like to suggest that you subscribe to the channel. It turns out that most of you who watch my videos aren't subscribed, so if you enjoy the content and want to support the channel, go ahead, subscribe and turn on notifications. It's free and you can always change your mind later. The content of this story may be disturbing to some viewers, so discretion is advised. This is a real story that happened to me a couple of years ago, and honestly, I still don't know what to believe. My name's Maya, I'm 19 years old, and I've always been a pretty solitary person. I live in a two-story house on the outskirts of the city with my mother. My father left when I was very young, so it's always been just the two of us. My mom works a lot to support us. Sometimes she has long shifts at the hospital, so I got used to staying home alone from a very young age. Our house is old, with creaky walls and hallways that feel way too long when the lights are off. It was a Friday night, around 10 p.m. My mom had texted me about an hour earlier saying she would be staying for a double shift and wouldn't be home until the next morning. That wasn't unusual for me. I was in my upstairs bedroom watching videos on my computer to pass the time. Outside, a thunderstorm had started. The wind was hitting the windows hard, making the glass vibrate with a metallic sound. I was about to go downstairs to grab something to eat when I heard the front door open and slam shut. I thought maybe my mom's shift had ended early, or maybe she was just too tired to finish the double shift. I stayed still on my bed, waiting to hear her usual footsteps. My mom has a very specific way of walking. She always takes off her shoes as soon as she comes in and drops them on the floor, making a dull thud that echoes across the first floor. And there it was. I heard the sound of the shoes hitting the floor. Then I heard her voice calling me from the bottom of the stairs. "Maya, are you awake, sweetheart?" she said in that soft maternal tone she always used. "Hi, Mom. I thought you were staying late," I shouted back from my room, instantly relieved not to be alone during the storm. "Plans changed. Come downstairs for a second. I need your help with something." Her voice sounded perfectly normal, exactly like hers. I got out of bed and walked toward my bedroom door, but just as I placed my hand on the doorknob, my phone vibrated in my pocket. It was a text message. I took it out, and my heart stopped. It was from my mom. The message read, "I just ordered pizza to be delivered to the house. Make sure you don't open the door to strangers. I love you. See you tomorrow." The message had been sent just a minute ago. A cold chill ran down my spine. If my mom was at the hospital texting me about pizza, then who had just walked into the house? The silence in the hallway was absolute, the kind of silence where you can hear your own heartbeat in your ears. "Maya, are you coming, honey?" the voice called again. This time it felt closer, like whoever it was had started climbing the stairs. I froze. I quietly shut my bedroom door and locked it. My mind was racing, trying to find a rational explanation. Maybe she had come back and forgotten to tell me? No, the pizza message was too specific. I moved to the window and looked outside. There was no car in the driveway. The street was empty, dimly lit by flickering streetlights in the rain. I knew I was trapped upstairs. I heard footsteps slowly climbing the wooden stairs. They were heavy, like someone was slightly dragging their feet. They didn't sound like my mother's bare footsteps. I hid in the darkest corner of my room, behind my closet, pressing my hands against my mouth to keep from making any noise. My eyes were locked on the door, waiting for the handle to turn at any moment. "Maya, I know you're in there. I can hear you breathing," the voice said from the other side of the door. This time the tone changed. It was no longer soft. It was rough, almost metallic, like something trying to imitate human speech without fully understanding it. The door started shaking. Someone was slamming against it violently from the outside. The hits were so strong I thought the hinges would break. Panic took over. I pulled out my phone and dialed 911 with trembling hands. The operator answered, and I whispered my address, telling them someone was in my house trying to get into my room. She told me to stay hidden and that the police would arrive in about 10 minutes. 10 minutes feels like forever when someone is trying to break down your door. Suddenly, the banging stopped. There was a dead silence that felt like hours. I carefully moved closer and looked through the keyhole. What I saw still haunts me. On the other side of the door, no one was standing there. The only thing I could see was an eye, a large, pale eye, almost without an iris, staring directly into the room. It didn't blink. It looked like it had been waiting for this moment for decades. I pulled away from the door with a terrified gasp. "I see you, Maya," the voice whispered. It sounded like its mouth was pressed against the wood. At that moment, I heard a noise on the ceiling of my room. It sounded like something crawling, like a large animal moving through the attic. I remembered the attic hatch was right in the hallway, just outside my door. The sound grew louder, and I started to see fine dust falling from the ceiling on my bed. I realized whatever was outside had found another way in. Almost at the same time, I heard police sirens in the distance. The sound seemed to scare whatever was in the hallway. I heard fast footsteps running away, followed by the sound of a window shattering in another room. When the police arrived, they broke down the front door and searched the entire house. They found no one. But what they did find nearly drove me insane. The guest room window was shattered from the inside out, and on the hallway floor, right in front of my door, there was a trail of a dark, viscous liquid that smelled like rotten meat and dampness. They also found something else. In the kitchen, on the table where my mother usually leaves her keys, there was a small handwritten note. The handwriting was identical to my mother's. It read, "I'm almost done with work. Prepare me something to eat. I'm very hungry." The paper looked old, but the ink was fresh. I moved out of that house the next day. My mom quit her job at the hospital, and we moved to another state to live with my grandmother. The police never identified the intruder. Security cameras from the neighbors only showed a long, thin shadow jumping from our balcony and disappearing into the woods, like a four-legged animal. Sometimes I still hear its voice in my dreams. Sometimes when I'm in a crowded place, I think I hear my mom calling my name, even when I know she's miles away. What terrifies me the most is thinking about what would have happened if I had opened that door before receiving that message. What was that thing that could perfectly imitate the voice of the person I love the most? So guys, be careful. Never blindly trust what you hear, even if it's the voice of someone you trust completely. Always check your surroundings and trust your instincts, because that instinct might be the only thing that saves your life. And to the thing that called me that night from the darkness of my own home, I hope we never meet again. I hope this story taught you something. If you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like and share it with your friends so they can stay alert too. And if you have a terrifying story that happened to you, you can send it to my email and maybe we'll feature it in a future video. Thank you for watching Shadows and Mystery. Have a peaceful night, if you can sleep.